Repeat after me. Do not send your scripts to anyone.
Do not send your scripts to anyone.
Thank you. Create a 3-page pitch deck. Logline, synopsis, characters. Why is this story important? Make it visual. Make the person who is going to see this pitch deck feel the story, see the visuals of the story, understand the world of the story. Send this to people. Let them be like, this seems interesting. Can I see a script? Before they see a script, sign an NDA. Make sure that you guys agree that, yes, I am sharing sensitive material with you. Here is the copyright certificate. And this person will tell you, okay, I might be working on something similar to this. If this comes out, you're not going to sue me because I read your script. Make sure you're legally covered. Number 1, you have your copyright certificate. Number 2, make sure all of these things are done on email. See WhatsApp, see Facebook Messenger. Make it very official so that in future, if someone steals your idea, it may be a mingi by the way, you have a basis to sue, you have a basis for legal action. Once that is done, you have sent your script, they love it, they want it. What is in it for you? What are you bringing to the table? Umenitumia script, sawa. I love your script. I can easily say, I just want to buy the script outright. I'll give you writer's credit. That's the end of your conversation. If you want more involvement in the project, what are you bringing to the table? Do you have money? Do you have equipment? Do you have a distributor already attached? Do you have development funding already attached? What is it you're bringing to the table? Understand what power you have of negotiation at the beginning, because you will send me your script, I will love it, I will buy it for 300, 400K, and you utaiona kwa cinema. So, first off, are you willing to part with the script? Are you willing to sell it to these people to produce it? Or do you want a bigger part of the production? You cannot have a bigger part of the production if you have nothing. If you just have the script, I will just buy the script and your story imeishia hapo. Have something, and also understand, what do these people need? Are these people even in the market for a script? Are they looking for collaboration? Are they looking for partnerships? When you're pitching to people, there is no one size fits all. How you will pitch to me is not how you'll pitch to Butita and Zainab. We are very different people and we have different things. She might want social impact stories. He might want something funny and commercially viable. I might be somewhere in between. Understand what I want, what I need, how I operate, and cater your pitch to me. There is no one size fits all. Have I answered the question?
I guess you have. Thank you very much. Aya, question number 2. Twende kwake Mugambi.
Yes, my name is Mugambi Ikiara, and there's something that came up about government and politics. That being said, we have there are bloodlines because politicians end up being in government. Yeah, that's a whole thing altogether, and government itself gets to censor some of the work that most creatives have written or have come up with. For example, due to what religious biases, something like Shamba la Wanyama was banned. Due to more or less the morality of it, Rafiki got banned. And how, if all of us decide to, or we decide to explore a political story, biopic of, say, JM Karaoke or Pio Gama Pinto, how sure are you that hii storyline tunafuatilia haita politicizewa, and then you find out wale vijana ambao wanaenda kutengenezea filamu, shut them down? Because ideally that is what might end up happening, and probably has happened before, because we are already seeing a trend. If a play got that much traction to scare the ones in power and whatever, how are we really to trust the processes that we end up calling government to actually uphold the same rights and that we expect are going to be upheld without it becoming a political thing altogether? So that's a fear that I'm or it's a concern I'm having. Because we've seen MLK, who is Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all these people, they were definitely radicals in their governments, in their times. And we definitely have radicals coming up and have been there in our political landscape. Wengine hata walimalizwa na the same government, we don't know. Are we still to trust that these are the same people wenye tusaidia ku nourish this, or will it just become another 1980s where you just have munanyamazishwa?
Shut it down.
Yeah, just shut it down and don't talk about it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Is there room to dare?
Yeah.
Sijui mbona unaangalia upande sana, but wacha nimpatie mic.
Ngoja. Before ajibu. Ningependa tu kusema, for every filmmaker, KFCB has guidelines on how things are rated. They have a whole PDF document that tells you what gets banned, what gets rated 18 plus, and what is not allowed. I would encourage everyone to go look through that thing. It is very simple, and those are things you can literally avoid so that you do not get banned. Before Butita ajibu, the difference between politics and government is, ukienda kwa rally, useme pigia huyu mtu kura, hiyo ni politics. Ukienda kumit na mtu, whether we do not agree, for example, an American, for example, might not agree with Donald Trump being president, but they need to work with Donald Trump because he holds that office. You might not respect the person, but you need to respect the office. That's the difference between politics and government. Number 3, the Nini was not banned. Echoes of Angoa was not banned. They just made it hard for it to be staged. Our legal system is very good still, so far. It has not been tainted yet. Currently.
Yeah.
Iko sawa. Unaona mpaka Rafiki watch for a whole week in cinemas. Our legal system is very good. Go through that whole KFCB guideline on what is not allowed and how they rate things, and you will avoid a lot of trouble.
And this is on their website.
It is online. You can download it even now. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something. I think as an artist, you need to realize artists and formal government will never go together, period. Because artists hold a mirror to society. If you go and you look at Michelangelo's paintings, because those were paintings that the church commissioned, you'll see like naked people inside those 2 pictures, because that was his form of protest. So you need to ask yourself, what am I willing to risk? How far am I willing to go? If you like your life and you like your neck, don't do those things. But kama inakuchoma ndani ya roho, sometimes freedom fighters are,
Yeah.
Let's not pretend politics and governance is 2 completely different things in Kenya. Because the same person who is going to politicize, it's like this. If this person killed my daughter today, and then tomorrow I'm going to find it really hard to go talk to them tomorrow in the office to discuss my policy about the business. It's very, again, I say westernized, because, I don't know, Kenyans, Africans, we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to, I'm going to hang around with the robber because I have to buy sugar from their house, but they stole from me yesterday at my home. It's going to be hard. So there is a way the person who killed your daughter it's going to be hard for this person. I'm not going to expect this person to fight for me as a creative if they're cutting my leg, but they're giving me contracts. So I think the Kenyan and the African in me is going to see politics and government at the same time.
Just to add, Star Wars is criticism of America. But how they framed it, even up to now, there are fans that have refused to accept that Star Wars is criticism of America. You can write your story. You don't have to be out there with it saying, you, Nani, so-and-so's name. There are ways that we can be able to tell these things. Yeah.
I hear you. Butita?
When I said that it was not in respect to storytelling, it was in respect for the tiny things that are not yet solved, that can be solved, but we can't get on a table to solve them. But if we go with your analogy of buying bread from robbers, we can decide niaje, okay, shida tuko nazo zenye serikali inaweza tatua, tubaki tu nazo sababu hao ni mang'aa, wanaruchaga tear gas, cha tubaki na hizi shida mpaka siku ile wataenda, which is maybe 3 years or maybe 7 years. We never know. But there is need to address an issue that can be solved. The same way that robbery issue has to be addressed also, and that killing issue has to be addressed also on a forum, that's the same way we need a table to discuss creative issues. Right now, if you watch the news, people are doing meetings, closed meetings, wapi nini, wanajipanga totally. So hakuna shida sisi creatives pia tukitaka kujipanga. Kujipanga yetu is not that give us this, we endorse you. It's as simple as for a foreign film to come to Kenya, hakuna rebates, hakuna nini. So it's expensive for them to see this as a filming destinations. What we are asking for is now you people try and have these rebate options, try and make it easier for them to film here so that it can also grow our industry. And such thing, it's a government and industry conversation. We have the Actors Guild, the Writers Guild, and what. So we really need, it's not tafadhali, ni right yetu. And sometimes both of us, even the government, fails in identifying that. It politicizes government things. Kitu ni government, hii ni role ya government. Politics inaingia. Kama storytelling, how you're saying that some stories, it becomes difficult to hear some stories because we now politicize them. No. When we went to US, the list had about 30 people. 30, like every relevant institution was told, look for people who can be able to go for this conversation and represent. So what happened? Kila mtu anadilidali. Oh, we are not yet to get the list. Oh, sijui tumepata watu fulani. Oh, hawa sijui tena wana portfolio. PP mingi. How did I end up there alone? Because hizo miezi zimebaki nilikuwa nimefanya discussion ya now, I was in meeting for Google, Meta, what, and apparently the people that I was with them in the meeting, hao pande yao walinichagua juu nilikuwa huko peke yangu. Hao wengine, by the time they present their people, it's late. Hata saa ingine unapata kulikuwa na issues of visas because some names were coming 3 days to the trip. Because there is no proper structure. So it ends up, unapata, juu mimi nilikuwa hiyo pande ingine yenye ilikuwa ina represent meetings ingine, jina yangu ikaenda mapema. So watu wanaona ni kama Butita alienda peke yake. Ask, utaambiwa, even the Ministry of Arts was to present a list. The people are there, but that were there at that time, did they present the list? We don't know what happened. Why is it that I went for a film thing and there was no head of film there? Si ati alichujwa, but planning. Planning. Na hata mimi ningepitia route singeenda. Unaona? So if that bureaucracy, nini, hizo vitu, confusion kubwa, like politics, government, kubwa kabisa. And it won't stop now until we know what is the right table. Like, sawa, daktari anaenda Poisons Board leo. Anaenda, kila mtu anajua mali anaenda. But sisi, ile duka yetu iko sawa? Haiko sawa, tusidanganyane. Tudanganyane, haiko sawa. Haiko sawa. Is it a guarantee that when I walk into Kenya Film Commission today, I've spoken to the government concerning a creative issue? Or even is KFC struggling also to raise that issue? Because hata wajui ni nani ataihandle. For example, is content creation under ICT or under culture or under arts? Who is best positioned to solve those needs? But I really need to question. I really need to go on the table and tell them niaje consolidate ni kitu. Ama mkwende. But as it is, iko tu hivyo. But si hatuna hiyo energy hizi tunataka ku-create. So kawa, nyima chairman. Nyima chairman, shikaneni. Mimi nishajitolea. Mimi mnataka mlango, mimi nitaenda nivuruge ndio hawa wase wa filamu wacha weke issue zao. Hapa hapa tuko politics, msipige hata picha nani tutakansoliwa to raise issues zetu. Yeah. So I think unaniget the difference. When it comes to storytelling, unfortunately tuko Africa na watu no emotional.
Answered? Good. Take a bit of everyone's, yeah? Asante sana. Thank you. Thank you. Question number 3.
My name is Benta, and I'm an actor, filmmaker, and currently Muinde film advocate. And my question is there a difference between a storyteller and a scriptwriter? Or is script writing inborn? Is it an inborn talent, or can you learn? Because from how I understand myself, I can come up with a very good concept. But sitting down and writing, so that's something that I really want to know. Is it inborn talent, or can you learn about it?
Storyteller means that you can basically use any medium. So whether you're using animation, whether you're writing a story, whether you're directing actors, for you it's a story and how you do it. So my description is visual storyteller. So any story that I'm telling you is gonna come in a visual sort of format. Script writer, you are doing things in a sequential manner in a format specifically for TV or film or something of the sort. So like that one is specifically for that specific medium. Let's Dani.
Also, as you're doing that, Brayo, ongeza pia creator and scriptwriter as well.
Unanipatia homework.
Go for it.
Hi, my name is Brian Munene. I started off as an actor, a graduate of YouTube University, self-taught. So it is not inborn. I always say this, and then people look at me very bad. The first idea of your story is where creativity ends. Everything after that is very mechanical. Script writing is very structured. There are very many questions you need to ask yourself and very many things you need to do. It is something that can be taught. A lot of people, hakuna mtu alizaliwa akijua kuandika script, hakuna mtu alizaliwa akijua format script. These are things that you learn. You learn the structure, you learn why, and you learn when not to follow the structure and when to follow the structure after years and years and years of practice. So it is not something that is inborn. The difference between now, ukiona mtu kwa film school 101. So the difference between written by and screenplay by means, written by means this was your original story. You are the quote-unquote creator of this story. This was your brainchild from start to finish. That's when you get the written by credit. Screenplay by means Martin came up with a story. Hakuwa anajua kuandika script. Came to you as like, I have this wonderful story. It goes like this, this is this, and then you wrote for him the screenplay. That's when you get the screenplay by title kwa credits. But sasa wa Kenya tunaandikaga to written by for everything. But yes, that's the difference.
Umejibiwa?
I have,
Good
yes,
enough.
I can add something.
Please.
I hear you. How I started in scriptwriting is I used to write stories, fiction, prose kind of way. And then, again, I went to a workshop and I learned how to write script, and then that's how I started writing script. And then now we have, all these apps that you are talking about. It gives you structure. But also that brings about the whole element of the importance of collaboration. There's a reason why there's a writer's room. Writer's room work. They work because we insist we want to be the screenplay by, it's written by, everything by, and sometimes you even tukifundishwa leo a whole workshop you might not get it. It's fine. Get somebody who can. And even the whole element of sometimes it's the beginning, sometimes it's the end. I've been in a writer's room where, like for me, I find it a little bit hard to start from scratch. Because in my head, I read a lot, I watch a lot, I have all these things going on. But somebody says something like this, I will create a whole story. Somebody give me a story, I will see the gaps. I will know how to end this story. I will know how to create a background to this story, to even give you reasons why this person is doing that. You can have that. You don't have to. That's the writer's room. Everybody, there's some people who are in the writer's room, they don't know how to write the script, but they're really good at telling stories or really good at creating characters. And that the writer's room can but why we need scripting is because there are many reasons. There is the element of dialogue. You can't do that with a story. You have to write the dialogue. So the actors, they know what to say and where to say. There's also the element of how a page in a script is like a 1 minute kind of way of filming. So at least ukijua hii script iko 40 pages, unajua film, it's around this, you're thinking budget, you're thinking, script also will tell you like the setup and like the set and everything. Because again, that starts from the script. You decide you're going to put this person in a room, or you decide you're going to put this in top of Suji for Jesus, you'll think of transport. Yes. But also the whole element of creativity. Let not, when you write a story and you're trying to script it, you have the option of how do I turn this story into a low budget film? How do I turn this story into a big budget film? The story is important, yes, but also the element of creativity, which I guess connects the two, is your story budget. That's why producers me on budget. I'm like, there is a way you can write a script of the same story and then create something either that doesn't need budget or something that has only 2 characters or something that has 1,000 characters, and a script does that. Yes.
But maybe if I can add on that. So there's a time we wanted to do a short film. We did a short film early this year, and we're like, hapa tunataka kusave mbaya. Tunataka character wawili, location moja. It's called Dilemma. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. Hii kitu ni kama ila shortcut. I think hiyo story ya producer ya hiyo unasema ya low budget, high budget. Okay, it's you to maintain that story and fix a budget, because even that story that you think it's a low budget can end up being very expensive. We kwani si tulikuwa na watu 5, kumbe crew ni ile. So sometimes pia as we cut budgets because of location and cast, let's keep in mind pia ina cutting across when it comes to budget.
Much more.
Yeah.
Good. Answered?
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. Asante sana. To your question, then that question, and I think we'll probably be done. Karibu.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Sanaa Post, a writer who may soon come or not come into good money. And should I come into good money, I'm thinking of being an executive producer. So my question goes to Butita and to Santa Mukabana. Yeah, so what are like, if I wanted to do, for Butita, I wanted to do a comedy or a thriller, a short film, feature film, series, average budgets, and for Santa Mukabana, so that for Santa Mukabana, fantasy. Yeah.
So budgets, you're thinking
I'm
budgets.
for this money, yes, because like I have 10 things I want to do.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know how much
Ujue pale
I'm talking
unachezea.
about.
Oh, budget. So,
Yes, thank you.
Okay, na perspective yangu vile mi ufanya na vile nimestudy tu behavior yetu kwa hii market. For me, if I'm looking at, because our model mostly is for collaboration and partners in the product. If I'm looking at that part of how I'm going to bring back the money, then I discourage short film and film. Why? Because for film and short film is one, I have one shot. If I'm using my model, that's what I'm trying to explain. For example, if I do a film and put it on YouTube, that's the best film I have. So if you want to market in it, it's already done. So hype yake siwezi convert into money, same na short film. The reason I'll do series online, even regardless of the money I'm putting in first, is because for a series, I have time to recoup and convince people. If episode 1 to 5 makes sense, then it's easy for me to sell from episode 5 to 10 and bring back the money that I used first. So that's why you see sometimes we start a series with no sponsor at all. Like, let me, case study, Kamam. Kamam is our latest series. I think the first 4 episodes did not have a partner. But from 5 onwards, you realize that we are even struggling to place them vizuri. Because we have, wanakuja katusha maliza kushoot, but at least wanakuja because of the hype of 1 to 5.
And
because
is this product placement?
Yes, like Safaricom came at around episode 9 or 10. That's why it starts with Safaricom Presents Kamam. So you can watch Kamam with 10 bobs, the bundles. The idea is to market the bundles so that people can be able to watch a lot of content with then using less money. 10 bob, 1.5 GB. But they came at episode 9. So assuming this was a one-off project, at episode 1 ikashika ikaisha, hatuna hiyo chance ya kurudisha hiyo do yetu hapa kwa episode 9. So for our model, we look at series yote as one product, but kuna mahali tutarudishia pesa, hatujui ni wapi, lakini wacha tusukume. Same with Anastoto. Anastoto, first 3 episodes were self-funded, but after that, the hype was enough to bring in partnerships for the rest of the episodes, which also built season 2. Season 2 was fully funded by the time it comes. So because of season 1. But now, when we did Dilemma, was a great movie, great short film. Everyone loved it. But we can't, that's the best. No partnerships, but we can't now bring partnerships. It has ended. So for our model, Tushaweka hivi online, imeisha, tuwezi make do nayo. Imeisha. So same na film. So if we are looking at online, 100% I'll go for series. And when it comes to budget, I will try and make sure I have budget enough to prove the concept. So if I'm doing 15 episodes, I'll try and make sure at least niko na budget ya kufika kama 10 episodes. How will I have that budget? Nikienda na model ya per episode nitaungua. Hiyo sio TV. Tenda na model ya per project niseme niaje. This one we are going to work as it niaje na kuitaji for 10 days niwachane na wewe. Unataka pesa ngapi? Usitake kujua kanda shoot episode 90, but 10 days nipatie 10 days. 10 days camera go for multi camera. Si scene moja hata ilitoke kamera 8. Wacha to break hizo rules. Like we will do multi camera, like 3 or 4 cameras, because we don't have leeway to spend a lot of time on set. Yeah, rehearsal, at least proper rehearsal, so that kiingia set ni kusonga. So with that, now if I come to your budget question, I can be able to say, with the amount that is available, I can be able to tweak it for a certain number of episodes based on my story. But if you're looking at recouping it back, series for digital, a tick. For movie, enda na ile model tumezoea kwanza. Unless una generate movie every week, but enda na ile model ya cinema, ya commissioning na nini. But for online, hautarudisha na hiyo movie. YouTube ya Kenya, CPM ya YouTube ya Kenya, you get 500,000, wanakupiga 50k yako clean. You get 1 million views, wanakupiga 60k ama 40k clean. Utafanya nayo movie. Hawezi. But kama ni series utasema ni aje? Si mko na hiyo 60, si niko na episode 15. At least niko na 700 itakuja, YouTube itafanya kitu. Na hizi episodes za mbele zitanirudishia do pia. So sija kwanza in terms of figures, but nimekuonyesha mimi angalia kwanza inatoka wapi ndio tuwekelee.
Asante sana. Just to make it even simpler is what I take from Butita is, why am I doing this project? Is it to return money? Ama in Brian's case, is it a concept project? Sindio? Because at times, kani short film yako, labda una bigger vision for it, ama tu kusema ini ya kujenga CV. Purely business. There you go.
A business lazima uanze na
how the money
ile naweka inarudi, hata kama ni 10 bob. Lazima kwanza upige calculation inatoka wapi before weke. Because if you are sure mali inatoka, na mnaweza piga hizo prediction, then naweza kama niambie huyu ni aje. Wewe ujui. Hiyo 200,000 yako. Yani niko 100% na kurudisha kwa 20 ama 240. Ndio hii business model yangu.
Good.
Hivyo ndio MMF za film huanza. Mbona zisikue?
Ukitaka kutengeneza pesa katika hii continent yetu ya Afrika, usifanye filamu.
May summarize.
Yes. It is just the God honest truth. Stay away from short, long, medium, no film. Unfortunately, series have a really wonderful pathway to make you money for the next 10 years. You can do it, put it on digital. Ukitaka, an option he had, you can take it off of digital for a while, license it to broadcaster. So you can license it to Showmax, Maisha Magic, give them a year's license. They'll pay you like 50, 60K per episode for a year's license. So for 1 year, they have exclusivity for the content. After that 1 year, peleke UG, peleke TZ, peleka Nigeria. Relicense it to all these other markets for another 60K per episode for a year. If you are lucky, get a European distributor. Atakwambia dub it in French and German, and then they'll buy rights for that series uko nje. There is always a market for TV series. There is not always a market for film.
Pole, bro.
Yeah, actually, I concur because like Anastoto, we are now doing it in Amharic. I don't know Amharic. I think for Ethiopia.
Imepata market yake. There is longevity in serial storytelling. Hey, sawa. Santa?
So, do we know what fantasy means? Are we sure? Fantasy ni Lord of the Rings, yeah, Game of Thrones. So we're talking big sets, big budgets, amazing actors. You just can't bring any random actor over there. And you're thinking about 5, 6, 7 seasons minimum. So what fantasy are you thinking about making? You have to do your research. So if you're talking about films, you're not talking about less than 50 million, 100 million. 100 million is actually the standard amount of money that you're throwing in there.
Kenya shillings,
no,
dollars.
US dollars. So let's say you want to do something like, let me pick the ones who are doing it well right now. China. China is doing a lot of fantasy. But as much as they're doing that fantasy, it's not cheap fantasy. Yeah, guys are on wires being pulled. Guys, have cameras and they're running all over the place and they have green screens at the back. So you need to sit down and look at who's doing whatever it is that you want to do, number one. Look at their budgets, and then look at, do we have the capability of doing that in Kenya? You could work with practical effects. Like there's a scene from Star Wars where they're in the arena. So they used toys, and then they used Q-tips. So you can't see the crowd properly because of blood in the background. But now that means that you need someone who knows how to do practical effects. So all of those things are things that you have to think about. I don't think Africa is ready to do fantasy, to be quite honest. And I'm not saying it as judgment. I'm saying it more of sci-fi, we can try. Sci-fi, we can fake it. Fantasy will be tricky unless you go AI. So go AI, invest in the apps, because I think the apps are about maybe 20K, 30K each. Get someone who knows how to work with AI. Then you would be able to make a nice animation that's gonna, blow people's minds. But as actors, budget for sci-fi.
Good. Umeot Subterranea. Okay, starring Peter Kawa. There you go.
Wachana na hicho chombo na uende. Wachana na hicho chombo na uende. We had dreams. I'll say 25% of our budget went to VFX. And we needed to hire 2 different VFX companies and 2 young VFX artists just to finish the project. Wachana na hicho chombo na uende.
Asante sana. Wacha ni jumpie hapo.
Jamwambia mlijenga gorofa kwa studio.
Yo, yeah. Tulijenga. So the bunker was built in Studio 4 at MultiChoice. We built chini na juu. Wachana na hicho chombo na uende.
Go watch Subterranea. It's on Showmax, yeah? Fantastic sci-fi. Final question. Spita.
Yeah. There's been the conversation of telling our Kenyan stories, the line on authenticity, the line on not caring what the Western world is trying to tell us. Also, there's been this conversation on this other side of the audience about, we've heard this story before. Why do Kenyan stories keep using a football storyline? You know those comment sections on those TikTok videos, yeah? So I am a lover of telling, our stories. I'm a big fan of Kenyan content. But now with the panel that we have and the experience of 120 years I'm seeing on the panel, where does the line get drawn in keeping to our stories and not having that side of we keep seeing this character, or tumetumia sana ghetto, or why do we always tell Eastern stories? Those, whatever. I don't want to dismiss all of them, but I'm concerned as a person in the industry when we shut them up, Yeah.
Okay, so you're thinking archetypes, you're thinking storylines, you're thinking repetition.
Yes.
Good. Now na Brayo uko ready, then we'll have it flow this way. Go for it.
Huyu amekuja mpaka close up na video. Umenipatia pressure. I really permission to speak badly. I really wonder where this narrative of we keep telling the same stories comes from. Because every time I switch on the TV, I see very different stories. So, hii story ya ghetto mnaongea kuhusu ni gani? No, cause I would ask you, is Kamam a ghetto story? It's not. Ni Jenzia na anahanda nini Mehesh. Is Anastoto a ghetto story? It's not. Is Njoro wa Uba a ghetto story? It's not. Was Second Family a ghetto story? Was Kina a ghetto story? Is Shanga a ghetto story? So what are these ghetto stories y'all are talking about?
Okay. What about the family, rich family, and there's a Mboch, one of those?
Telenovelas have their structures. Sawa. Do not confuse a genre trope with cliche.
I love that.
Telenovelas have their structure because you need to appeal to both markets. You need to appeal to the middle class and the poor people, because hiyo ndio watu wana appeal to. But when you're talking about stories generally, is Makosani Yangu a ghetto story? Is Mvera a ghetto story? What are these stories that sijui tunacheza football? Because two movies did it all of a sudden. This is the cliche in Kenya. But when I watch Saizi on Showmax, Chocolate Empire, very different story. Ni story ya brothel. Hakuna ball. Foreplay, the same thing. Anti-inkantai. Boys alikuwa na retire, akanyanganywa pesa, akaanza kuuza maduya. What is this? We are telling the same story, narrative that I keep hearing that I don't see on our TVs and on our movies. Sketchy Africans. Was that a ghetto story? Because every time I see a new Kenyan movie, I see a new Kenyan series, I see new Kenyan content, it is a very different, very diverse storytelling. So, Eastoria, we are telling the same stories. Sugar right now, they have a rugby team. And then nikona watu akisemati, hii rugby is not authentic. Who said? Do you know how big the rugby scene is in Kenya, especially in campus? Like, I have people who do maka the face paint and costumes kwenda watch university rugby games in Kenya. Yet, tukifanya ball, tumeona hii story over and over again. Again, I ask, what are these stories that umenasema are the cliche? Because every time I switch on the TV, every time I watch something new from Kenya, every time I see an exciting project from Kenya, it is very different, it is very diverse, it is very new, it is very fresh. Foreplay. Is that a ghetto story? So it's subterranean. Is that a ghetto story? So mnaongea kuhusu nini?
Good. Okay. As Santa answers, I also want us to earmark something he said, yeah? He said, think genre, for instance, telenovela, and the tropes of it. So if you're watching, particularly a certain time on this free-to-air, that type of storytelling, kuna tropes itarudia. So zote zitafanana, ukienda NTV, ukienda Citizen. This is technically the telenovela format, uochia India, maybe wataongeza kamziki, but it's the same idea. American telenovela, Bold and the Beautiful.
Yes, it is girl loves boy, boy doesn't love girl, or two men are fighting over one girl. Like that is the trope, but it does not mean it's the same story. Selena was on a flower farm. Shanga iko Umasaini. Like it's different, but kuna tropes zitakuwa the similar to keep people hooked. That doesn't mean it's the same story. So hii story hatukusema ati we keep telling the same ghetto story. Please tell me a ghetto story that has been done, ball, in the last 3 years on Kenyan TV. I will wait.
Maze mmeguza mrema.
Mumefanya nani amekasirika. Okay. This is what I think, people who do romance have the benefit of knowing that their content will constantly be watched. A chick will watch the same storyline of a guy and a woman, but it's because we're expecting that trope. If it doesn't fall along that trope, then we're not going to watch it, because then it's not a romance. The problem that we have in Kenya is Kenyans have a very wide palette. That they're not only watching American films, they're watching, European films, Asian films, all of these things. And so there is a level of, should I say, expertise that they're used to watching when they're watching American shows. And so when they see you do your 24, they're like, 24 haishiki kama ile ya Jack Bauer. And that's the thing, that the standard of what they're expecting from us, and I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't continue making films and whatever. Film is a practice. The more you do it, the better you become. And we're still at that stage of, we're still trying to, figure out what are we good at and all of those things. So of course we're going to have teething problems here and there. But for me, what I'll say is, sometimes, and this is a very, very serious problem that we have, a show will be taken from South Africa. And then it is put in a Kenyan context. And the worst part about it, I have watched a show where I watched the South African version. And then, for some strange reason, because I was on Showmax, I happened to watch the same show in the Kenyan version. And I was like, oh my God, I can see the problem. There's a certain level of authenticity that we don't have. And yes, we might feel hurt, we might feel like we're being attacked, but I feel like we should look at it as constructive criticism. That there's a way that they're telling their stories that it does not seem authentic on our part when we do it. Because it's literally the same story, copy-paste. And so, in my opinion, I feel like it's a collaborative effort. What the actors are doing, what the director's vision is, what the writer is thinking about, and we don't have enough time between finishing the story and shooting it and then getting it on air, because you guys have to get paid, man. We're doing it for rent. So we don't have that time and energy to give something a good and proper base.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Mugambi, the reason why Sanctuary was so good is we actually worked on it for a long time, because in the middle, maandamano happened. So we actually had enough time to finesse and grow those characters. So by the time guys are watching, guys are like, oh my God, your actors seem so authentic. Guys are even saying, are the two of them dating? So I think that's the problem. It's a matter of, we're doing stuff because we need to get paid. Hatuwezi lalanja. You can't stay with a project for 2 years. So those are some of the problems. And there is no unique story. There is no, we are all telling the same story, whether it's in India, whether it's South Africa, we are all telling the same story. What we need to focus on is, people taking feedback, unfortunately.
Good. Thank you very much. I'm also considering this as the closing remarks. So I love I love the passion. I love the passion behind their words. Thank you, Brayo. Thank you, Santa. Karibu Zainab.
Yes, for me, to that question, 3 points. One, again, the element of writer's room. I know I keep saying this because I'm going to talk about number 2, which is guilds, the importance of them. Writer's room, if you have the same writer who everybody loved because they did that one show and then it became popular, write the second and the third and the fourth, even if it's different genres, somehow you will feel something similar. We don't want, for some reason, we want to own our stories very much. And this writer has one experience and one background, and I'm going to write about that. Unless I go out of the way and do some crazy research, nijitume. Again, that's a lot of pre-production, and that's a lot of, sometimes there's a budget, sometimes there's not. Are they going to give you money for pre-production? Probably not. Utajituma sawa, but not many of them would do that. So if you have a writer's room, I feel even if you write story, the same story, umeandika Mombasa, mtu wa Mombasa, mtu wa Lamu ameandika, na mtu wa Nairobi ameandika, it will be 2 different stories for some reason. Even though the trope is there, but it feels different, right? Number 1. Number 2, guilds. I'm going to say guilds. I'm the secretary of Kenya Scriptwriters Guild, and and I'm talking about guilds in terms of inside and also films pamoja. Because we keep hearing stories of the writers, the producer, or the filmmaker, the executive producer. Sometimes we forget we're in the same place. Like sometimes she does a writer's zita trickle all the way, she does a producer's zita trickle all the way down. And I feel like a guild is where we all get to sit together as script writers and say, by the way, let's take it to the next level. Let's have workshops, let's have networking, let's call this creator from this place and come and then have this discussion. Let's do this as Kenyans, right? We do it together, I feel we can move together. But also the element of Producers Guild of Kenya Scriptwriters Guild, we have the Actors Guild as well. I feel like when you put more power into that and you have everyone joining, it's easier for also because it's coming from a professional, the number 2 and number 3 is connected. From a professional view, if I write a film, I'm in this guild, and how I write it, either I've used some of the people in my guild or not, there is a way if my guild gets it, and they're writers, and I learned it from them, and they speak. If my producers speak from those people and the whole guild speaks, because that problem is because somebody said somewhere on social media. We don't have enough people from the professional spaces speaking up. So we have professionals, who are out there, and they're going to say, and everybody's going to run with it. And I feel like guilds, producers, scriptwriters, you remember why also Sinners, is it Sinners?
Sinners.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, it's because of that, let's be honest. That thingy he did with talking about the film and the difference, and that changed the whole game. After that, everybody wanted to watch it because it came from a professional, and the professional explained what it was they were trying to do. I have a feeling if that didn't happen, probably people would have said, that film looks like Sujinini. Oh, that film, yes. Number 3, it's connected to number 2, marketing. We don't do a lot of that. We do not. Even if you want to spend your money into that, think marketing. And from a producer's point of view, don't think of marketing after Nimemaliza film, I'll start marketing. Think all the way behind. Think of the BTS. Think of what you're going to use to market. I will create as we are filming. I will start introducing my characters to my audience before the film even comes out. I will start talking about the importance of this set. I will make a big deal out of it. So by the time after the film comes out, like you have created so much passion around, and that's how Hollywood does it so well. Sometimes it's so mediocre, the story is so mediocre, but the way they made a big deal out of Suji, the building they Suji acted in, or this character and their background and all that. So also with the marketing, I feel we can.
There's opportunity there.
Yes, so there could be 3 different stories with 3 different backgrounds, but there are similarities here and there. And then those are highlighted on social media, and then people will go around it. Imagine if there was marketing, and then they were expressing or showing the different kind of things that are in that film. It will feel different.
My play was a romance with an AI element in it that had aliens. And you're understanding what it is that I'm doing here? You have to layer your story. Usitoke tu na romance na drama alafu naitupa tu hapo, and then you're like, yeah, it's whatever. Layer your story with nuance, with interesting things, so that the audience has something to look at. The reason why that story was layered that way simply was the ones who want to come and watch a romance are coming to watch a romance. The ones who are coming to watch a sci-fi are coming to watch a sci-fi. The ones who are interested in aliens are coming to watch that. You have to layer your audience.
Mimi kitu moja.
Yeah.
Kuja gundua na hii Kenya. Vitu watu preach tu hapa kwa internet na vitu kisiri wanafanya. Yaani hiyo tena kitu wanasema waoni tena ndio unasikia iko na high ratings. Sasa unashindwa.
The eyeballs are there.
In fact mpaka mimi usemanga most of the time nikiona kitu inaongelewa najiambianga ama it's so big it has now reached people that do not watch things. Because you've summed it up like where are these things that you're saying namaanisha wewe basi ya mwisho yenye uliona ndio ilikuwa inafuatana na hii. Hujaona hizi zimetokea. So I think it's a bandwagon fallacy. But now you might also be right at one point that you've asked, why is it sometimes, apart from same stories, we'll see same people? I used to believe also, kwani hakuna wase wengine, until one time I went for a session just to learn how to do a film business plan and how the business behind film works and series. And you'll realize that even a broadcaster want to know who is in this series that guarantees it will sell. So you don't have a leeway as an executive producer or a producer, sometimes as a producer, to have majority of the people being unknown faces. The reason why you'll see some faces over and over again is that that's the key, that's the gateway for that product to be there. Because yes, it's art, but people are in business. The platform want to see views next week. They ask for profiles. Brian will tell you, like, sometimes you have to defend an actor. Actor ametumia page moja unaongeza zingine 9. Kuonyesha tu why they are the right people for that role. So for me, if you ask me about having constant faces, I'll tell you, I'm not okay with actors playing same roles over a long time, but I don't have a problem with seeing the same face transitioning in different roles. Because if film mirrors how we live and the stories we tell, then it means if I played a school kid, nilikuwa high school, you expect me to play as a father in the next coming years and play as a Nguka. Like, you also want to see transitioning of roles and having a wide range. Wasi wataidia iwezi cheza high school sahi. Unaona? But sina noma nikiona OJ akiplay role ingine mahali. Unaona? Because that's how it has. Kwani Morgan Freeman angecheki tu kwa kijana achi watu wengine wazee wangetoka wapi kwa movie. So in that context of faces, one thing I would like people to know is that it is a career like any other career, and this is someone who is now living that career. So haezi pigawani ya wache. Anaweza tu transition hapo ndani. So tukue open-minded when we see these are actors and actresses, when we see their faces, tena nione kwa ingine. Challenge wacha ikue, by the role unanipea fiti ama unipei fiti.
Exactly.
But there is also room for new talents, but it can't be 3/4 of the movie. Totally hakuna mali itaenda, hata kani series inakuanga ngumu. Kujustify inakuanga kazi. Alafu ingine ya story kujirudia, I come from a point of stories might be the same, but how people tell them is different. Let's go back to the Hollywood that we keep on referencing it when we talk about a successful industry. Hata hiyo Hollywood, ukiangalia Day of Jackal, uangalia sijui, una realize there is a similarity. There is a hero story that's being told. Yeah, that's why they say the hero with a thousand faces. It's always the same circle of life, but told differently. So the game here should be, how best is a story told? Unaona hata hiyo story unasema, tuseme kama unapeana ya futa na nini, ikisemwa vizuri tena sijali zenye nimewaiona. But it's not that we are banning football stories, we are banning rag to riches stories. Let's face the fact, like the common Kenyan stories, rag to riches. Kuomoka, umse ametoka faa, umse alikuwa anauza kuku. Unaona hizo story?
Yeah, the Kenyan dream.
It's a Kenyan dream. So how you tell it is different. Maybe I came from Kariobangi, sijui nini, kuna mwenye alitoka Kisii, kuna mwenye alitoka, rag to riches remains constant. But story never change. Yeah.
There you are. I like that he mentioned something about the heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, the heroes behind our stories, our panel for the evening. Makofi kwao. Target time yangu ya kumaliza nilikuwa nimepatiwa 10 o'clock. I'm 2 minutes to 10 o'clock. Thank you very much. We started 15 minutes from the correct starting time. Na nimejaribu karibia 15 minutes past 9:45. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience. Mimi sifungi because si mimi nilijiintroduce. Ningependa kukaribisha Kawa, panel msisonge, ndio hata yeye asiongee sana, si ndio? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Kigondu. One last thing before we are done, I'd like all our panelists to tell us how we find them. Najua ni maseleb, already mnawafollow, but watuambie wapi, na akitaka kumention email address pia. Umtumie ndio umtumie concept yako. Tunaweza anza. Brian, how do we find you on the socials?
Sina pseudonym. Ukiandika tu Brian Munene utanipata kila mahali. TikTok ndo napenda kuishi. Instagram is easier to find me.
Thank you very much. Santa?
You can find me on Instagram, Santa_creates.
Thank you very much. Zainab?
My name is Zainab Mejja, so my Instagram is Zaini Mejja, so just the N with the Y and then Mejja.
Mejja.
But also Kenya Scriptwriters Guild, go follow that, and then yes.
Thank you very much.
Eddie Butita everywhere.
Fantastic. Kigondu, Kigonduw, everywhere. Good evening. Peter Kawa, karibu.
For this camera, no? Okay, so wapigeni makofi tena tafadhali. Time is spent. Tuliambiwa by saa 3:30 tukuwe tumeanza ku wrap up. So we are trying our best. I will not belabor anything any of these guys have said. All I have to say is that thank you so much, guys, for coming, joining us, and just making sure that this ball keeps rolling. Okay, Brian, thank you so much. This has been one of my employers for the last 3 years. It's usually a trope in the industry that there is no one else who's willing to hire me except this guy. So thank you so much for Subterranea and County 49. Santa, I also know you personally. The first time I ever boarded a plane because of being a creative, when we went to Uganda, 2018, and I was going to pitch Sanaa Post. It was a new baby, and we were going to be taught on how to package our products as a business. And a couple of years down the line, here we are. Thank you so much, Santa. And also, just a bit of just some information. Santa was not supposed to be part of our panel today. She was part of our audience. Until last minute, one of our panelists could not make it, and she decided to take up the opportunity to be part of the... So thank you so much, Santa. And we have Zainab. We met in Mombasa last year. I had been called in last year, 2022? 2023, earlier. So I had been called in to talk to the fraternity in Mombasa about creative economy in general and how to monetize. And that's why I met her. And I realized she's one of the most intelligent people that I've met. And you also do science and biotechnology, sikia mambo kama hiyo. And here we are in the creative space. So please, mali penye hiyo mali art na science inapatana, tafadhali saidia industry so that we can grow together. So thank you so much for making it as well and for representing the Screenwriters Guild. Makofi tafadhali kwake. This is a gentleman I admire a lot. This guy we consult on so many things, especially the creative economy. And he's a man kuna ile supenda kujita the veterans wa industry, And I look at where this guy came from, and he's literally running the industry right now. It's like he's literally carrying the whole industry and the digital space on his back. And I think he's one man that the industry really needs to learn from, because he's a man who has hategemei the big guys to be who he is. And I think that is where all of us need to go. And that is why we have these sessions. How do we build our own platforms so that we can take the industry forward? So Butita, thank you so much. And God bless you for even making it and staying with us up to this moment. Asante. No worries. And lastly, before I come to the team, this gentleman here, mpigeni makofi tafadhali tena. So the content producer for the film Ignite sessions is called Aaron J. Tamale. He's Ugandan. He's the person who ran the first edition as a moderator. Until yesterday, he called me and he told me he has a family emergency back in Uganda and he could not travel to be with us. And I called this gentleman at around 4 p.m. Akasema, wapi, lini, sangapi, I'm there. And here we are with Martin Kigondu. I met him in 2000 and tukiwa vijana wadogo sana, and he's one of the people that I really admired, because as an actor, I am one of those guys who really struggles to get my lines that have been written by writers, okay? So until I met this gentleman, I admired how he's very faithful to what these people create. And this one man that he's written for me as well as most of the characters that I've played in Subterranean and County 49. So thank you so much, Mato. And you're doing a great job for the industry. He has a couple of podcasts, 2 podcasts. 2? Yeah. Yes, and a radio. He's on radio as well. And he's one man who's literally on every stage production. He's either producing, directing, or acting in it, or even writing. So Mato, you are doing a great job. So may God bless you. Tukutane kule mbele. Asante sana. Baraza Media Lab, Origin, thank you so much, my good sir. Thank you for holding our hand, and we look forward to doing more. After every 2 months, let's keep going until let's keep doing this until we run out of content, because I'm sure we have so much to cover. Okay, so thank you so much. Watu Baraza Media Lab, join us. They have the space. I think Origin had already told us what to do, and we have a QR code that you can also just scan so that you can give them your feedback on how the event has been and how their services have been for us. Sanaa Post. This team is kind of small and big at the same time. So thank you for coming on board and just helping this dream come true. So from Shoti to Anita, Kanyi, and there is Terry and wako wengi, and Sam, and we have George Saj, tuko wengi. It's a big team, so thank you so much for making this possible. And lastly, Multan team, Juju, and we have Juju, we have Tush. Thank you guys for coming through, and special thanks to one gentleman called Ruben Odanga. Ruben Odanga is the first person who gave me an opportunity to be in a film, a short film. And here he is still working this journey with us by providing for us the cameras, sound, and lights. So wapigeni makofi tafadhali. I am confident that I have not left anyone out. If I have, tafadhali nitumie SMS. I'll find a way to put it somewhere pale chini kwa captions. Otherwise, like I said, I will not take too much of your time. I'd like to thank you guys for being with us from 5 until 10. It is no small feat, so I celebrate you, and I thank you so much. Clap for yourself, tafadhali. Let's go implement. There's been so much. I think I was outside with someone who said, hey, hii panel inakanika wote ni wasomi. And it felt like a masterclass of sorts. So please, if there's anything you're getting out of this, please let us go out and implement what they've taught us and see how we can create more independent films so that we can have an industry. Because right now, bado hatuna industry. tunajitafuta. Nimemaliza kuongea. Unless there is anything else, God bless you. See you on the next one.